in KwaZulu-Natal.
Cape of them all once again played host to the biggest event of the year on the South African rally calendar. The Total Rally of South Africa was this year round 3 of the National Rally Championship and round 2 of the FIA African Rally Championship, with competitors from 4 African countries joining the cream of the local crop in the Western Cape. The Total Rally of South Africa was run for the first time last year, with the long-term aim of seeing South Africa back on the FIA World Rally Championship calendar in the near future. The first step towards this objective came with the event this year granted FIA African Rally Championship status, with competitors from Zambia, Zimbabwe, Uganda and Namibia joining South African crews in Cape Town. The Western Cape is a stronghold of South African rallying, and the international crews added an extra element of expectation to an event important to crews with South African and FIA African Rally Championship title aspirations. Leading the South African Championship were reigning champions Jan Harvig and Douglas Judd, who were looking for a hat-trick of victories this season in the factory Sasol VW Golf 4. Rally headquarters and the start and finish were at the Civic Centre in Cape Town, and festivities at the start would not have been complete without a little local colour and music. As the countdown to the start continued, South African champions Jan Harvig and Doug Judd were not all that concerned about being drawn the first car on the road.
We're quite pleased to be car 1 on the road because we can just ride the road as we see it. There are no marks on the road at all, and we prefer that. The disadvantages are really that we don't know what lies around the corners, but we've been over most of the route, not all of it, and so we're fairly confident that we can run well on as car number 1.
Following the South African champions off the start ramp were Gauteng driver Paulo Piazza Musso and local co-driver Nick Haddon in the Ford Escort. After enjoying support from Sasol last year, the Piazza Motorsport team are this year running as privateers and were looking for a morale-boosting result. Right behind Piazza Musso and Haddon were a crew carrying massive support from Western Cape enthusiasts. Somerset West residents Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the dealer team Toyota Corolla were looking for a second successive win on the Rally of South Africa. A good result was what was needed to boost their SA Championship hopes, but for others like South African Charles van der Walt, Ugandan star Emmanuel Kato and Zambian veteran Satwan Singh, there were other priorities.
We currently got 3 points in the Africa Championships, which sounds in our championship not like many points, but you only get the same than Formula 1 you only the first 6 cars get points. So what we now have done, we've changed the management system on this car to be fully FIA compliant. So we got a chance to pick up more Africa points, and then after this event we will fall back to the TDI for the rest of the season, in hopefully to do most of the Africa Championships, but we will definitely go to Zambia and see if we can improve our points. So I mean, for me this is I must actually in 2 championships try and pick up points for this one.
No, we're looking forward to the event. We had a look at the stages yesterday. The stages are very, very fast and a lot smoother than what we're used to. You know, we're used to typical safari conditions, which are very, very rough. And as you can see, the car is built for very rough conditions. So I'm sure some of the smaller cars here will be going a lot quicker than us. But we hope to give them a run for their money. You know, we're hoping for a good result.
Last year was a good year for me. I had a very nasty accident, and it was a collapse of my first lumbar on my backbone. So I was off for a year. But it happens, you know. It's one of the major accidents in my whole career. I had several accidents, but that was a major one. So such an injury. But this year we are strong.
7 special stages were on the schedule for day 1 of the Total Rally of South Africa, with crews heading for the Grabouw, Botrevier and Caledon areas. The route would take in some superb Western Cape scenery, but sightseeing wasn't on the agenda where competitors were concerned. There was a lot of work to be done, and the Sasol VW factory crew, Jan Harvig and Douglas Judd, were not about to waste any time in opening up a gap between themselves and the rest of the pack. Under South African regulations, the Sasol VW Golf runs in the Premier Class A8 category, with the car also homologated for the FIA African Rally Championship. The Ford Escort of Paolo Piazzamuso and Nick Haddon also runs in Class A8 under local regulations. The pair were likely to find themselves embroiled during the day in a battle with the Class A6 Toyota Corollas of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson and Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the team total entry. Over the years, Damso has been virtually unbeatable in his own backyard, but with the 7-time SA champion and Hodgson running to Class A6 specifications, they'd have their work cut out to keep in touch with Harvick and Judd. After 2 non-finishes this season, Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding in a second Sasol VW Golf running in Class A8 were desperate for a good result. Steaming along behind them was the Toyota Celica GT4 of Ugandan Emmanuel Kato and Kenyan Peter Stone, with the pair having their first taste of rallying under South African conditions. While the Celica was built to withstand the tough safari rally conditions, Zambian Satwan Singh and Tumbi Goma were out in the impressive turbocharged Subaru Impreza, campaigned 2 years ago by World Rally champion Colin McRae. Singh is no stranger to South African conditions, and he's also a former FIA African Rally champion. At a service park on the outskirts of Trabo, technical crews were waiting to work on their charges for the first time. Under FIA rules, work on cars is allowed only in designated service parks. It was going to be a long day for the technicians, and after only one special stage, there were already signs of a little wear and tear.
Yanni, the body panels seem to be taking a beating. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, some parts of the stages are very, very rough. It's like big rocks, sort of half a brick size. And obviously with the front wheel spinning all the time, it just chucks the rocks out, and it's obviously causing a bit of damage to the panels. But it's not driver error, it's just the conditions of the road.
Local favourites Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson picked up a power steering problem in the opening special stage and dropped 25 seconds to Harvick and Judd. That was not a train smash at this early stage, and Damso was philosophical about conditions he knows like the back of his hand.
Conditions, a bit of dusty in some part of the stages. I see the stages are starting to break up a bit, but we had quite a good stage. We lost power steering about 10 kilometers from the end, so that's lost a bit of time there, but we had a reasonable good stage.
Ugandan Emmanuel Kato took time out for a little refreshment and a chat with Paolo Piazzamuso. Co-driver Peter Stone looked a little bemused, and the Zambian flag was fluttering in the breeze while service crews set to work on the Singh Goma Subaru Impreza. Team owner Singh was keeping a close eye on proceedings, while over in the Sasol VW camp there were early worries for the long-established pairing of Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding. The pair picked up a problem in stage 1, and there was a flurry of activity around the car with Van der Walt looking a little concerned.
Some problems.
Yeah, the problem that took us out on the last event happened now again after we've done a lot of work on the alternator and the belt and that sort of thing, but the belt came off 3Ks.
Bonafide was so dominant in seasons gone by. Also having a good run was Skolberger and Martin Buerta in the Subaru Impreza, who were challenging strongly for a place in the top 5. A peaceful late afternoon in the Overberg, disturbed only by the sound of rally cars, with the ubiquitous Hannes Grobler and Brian Duncan challenging for a place in the top 5 in the Team Total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra. It was a mind-boggling performance from a Group N car, but over the last 20 years, rally enthusiasts have come to expect that sort of thing from Grobler. Trying to make up ground in Class N2 were Kobus Roos and Neil Fourie in the SALive.com Toyota, who, like arch rivals Dean Sanders and Graham Hooper, had fallen foul of punctures. Zimbabweans Jamie White and Philip Archinal in a Nissan Sentra were also going along steadily, as were countrymen Abe Smith, a former FIA African Rally champion, and Pete Marsh in the diesel-powered VW Golf TDI running under the Sasol banner. Also soldiering along among the midfielders were Doug Kemsley and Steve Grobler in the top car Fuchs BMW, with local crews Stephen van Dijk and Mark Pym now running at the head of Class N2 in the Toyota Corolla. On the menu, technical personnel were preoccupied at a service point with fitting the special lights required for rallying in the dark. Behind rally leaders,